Yo, guys, what's up, and welcome back to the Marvelous Chats podcast. This is episode 101. This week, we're going to be talking about Secret Invasion episode 3. We're going to be talking about some of the Deadpool news that dropped during the week, both official and non official, and any other news in between. Tonight on the cast is myself, Finto, and Alex, aka Zabrov. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, drop a like on the video. If you're watching us on a replay as well, leave a comment below, let us know what you think. Here we go. Yo.
Hey, what's going on, buddy?
What's up? How are you?
Dealing with a cough, so I apologize. But how are you doing?
I'm good, bro. Quick week. Seems like we were only sitting down yesterday. That's how fast the week went for me. But
Yeah.
not too bad. I'm kind of sad it's Sunday though. You know, I've a long 2 weeks ahead of me work wise, so it's going to be tough. So I was kind of hoping the weekend would feel a little longer, but here we are. How are you? How was your weekend? Or how was your?
Good?
Sorry, I know you're like 8 hours behind me, so.
Oh no, yeah, it's fine. It was pretty decent. Work was going well. There were quite a bit of things to give support on, but otherwise the work week has been very like slow. They haven't really given me much work to do, but at the very least, like I'm just like, I'll go fix this thing or I'll go fix that thing. It's kind of like just kind of doing ad hoc work.
Yeah, for sure. I feel you. Yeah, shout out to anybody who was here in the pre-chat or watching us or lurking us or any of that stuff. If you're liking the video, we really appreciate it. Helps with the old YouTube algorithms. Yeah, so look, there's a bit of stuff to go through today. Obviously, we have episode 3 of Secret Invasion. We kind of crossed the halfway point of the season this week, so I'm curious to see kind of how you're feeling and how everybody else is feeling. So let us know in the chat or let us know below what you think. Also, there was some official casting news for Deadpool 3, which I'm kind of surprised that they officially announced some of it. But then there's some unofficial stuff going on that we can talk about as well if people want to hear it. If they don't, tough shit. But yeah, I think let's just dive straight in. Episode 3. What did you think?
Honestly, man, it's kind of like hitting the same way. It's not really doing much for me at the moment. I think that a lot of the planning that they did, a lot of the plot that they decided to write, and a lot of the things they felt was going to be a shocker for us, at least for the halfway point. It's not really that big of a shocker. I think there's some issue with the writing in this whole plot. Like I think it's all over the place. And at the same time, it doesn't really matter or make sense. You know,
I was going to use the word lackluster, but yes, you've said the same thing pretty much just in a different
way. Yeah. So it's kind of a pain in the ass, man. Like at the very least, like I know most of us think that like, oh, Miss Marvel's like sucks. Miss Marvel's a piece of shit. But at the very least, they gave it like a direction. At least they were giving us something to work with. Yeah. In this situation with Secret Invasion, I feel like they thought they were in the right direction, but it's really not making sense. It's like, okay, so Gravik is like, I'm tired of waiting. Let's start a revolution. Let's bring the scrolls in. We have millions of us in the area, so let's do that. And it's like, okay. So I mean, it seems like you're the only person at the moment, besides like maybe like a handful of people that we've met, that are like, yeah, sure, whatever. Let's do it. Let's start a revolution. Let's get ththings going. But other than that, like, I feel like most of the population of scrolls on Earth are like, we just want to live. And it's like, okay, so obviously you can't give them the same treatment as they gave New Asgard because they're scrolls, they're shapeshifters. They really would not be trustworthy on their planet. In the sense, like it'd be so fucking scary. So like it's this whole hiding situation that I think is like kind of annoying, because you know I read I'm reading the comic, and it's just written so much better because they're just straight up invading. They're just straight up coming in. They've already got like their super scroll program in the works. They've already got everything like ready to go. There's super scrolls on the planet. There's, you know, everybody's kind of dressed up as a hero or a villain. It doesn't matter. Like it's just, you know, which do you trust? They have some shapeshifters that are like politicians. They have some shapeshifters that are like reporters and whatnot. And it works out because it's like you don't know who to trust, and we're going to dominate you because of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the whole kind of shapeshifter vibe. I like it in other things. Like I don't know if you ever watched Supernatural, for example. Like I love that show, and they whenever they did like a shapeshifter episode, I always really enjoyed it because again, you never know who the shapeshifter is and so on. But then obviously there's a million of them,
Mhm.
so it's it could be literally everybody, So it's I don't know. I think with the way that you described it as being lackluster and stuff, I think that's kind of how I feel. And I'll be completely honest with you. Like 5 minutes before we started this, before you jumped into the call here, I opened up Disney Plus on my computer and I just like did a little, the way you could scan through and you see the little thumbnail.
Oh yeah.
Like I was like just scanning through the episode just to kind of remind myself of
Uh,
some of the stuff that went on because it's so forgetful.
Oh yeah,
And
dude. Like I did the same. Like I actually just put it on and had it on the side. I was reading the comic while I was like listening to
yeah.
it.
Yeah. Actually, funny you talk about the comic. I actually completely forgot about this, but when the show was first announced, I remember actually thinking to myself, I'm going to order the book, like the paperback book of it, because I was like, I've
Yeah.
never read it before. I think it might be important, and the hype around it when it first got launched was huge. Like, it was really big. So I was like, oh shit, I think I better read this. Like, so I actually have it and it's sitting on a shelf behind me there and I've never even opened it. So what I might do is over the next couple of days, I'll probably read it. And then when we talk about episode 4, at least they'll have the comic read. But I'd say anybody who's listening to this now and is going to listen to episode 4, they're probably going to hear how pissed off I'm going to be because I'd say the comic book is incredible. So I'm
Oh
just
yeah,
going to be like,
it's
fuck.
100% incredible. Can I at the very least can I try to can I try to show you like one little panel?
Yeah, of course.
It
Here, let
looks
me
amazing in my
see.
opinion. Let me see if I can get it on here.
Boom. Look at this.
Um
Look at the production here.
let's see. I think it's this one. Yeah, it's this one. Okay. Can you
Oh,
see it?
your screen sharing. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sick, dude.
Dude, like this is the last panel to the end of like one of the issues. Like
Nice.
well, this is the
Assemble.
second to last. So like if
Reminds,
I were to
reminds me
go
of
to the
Endgame.
yeah. So it's like this, and then like it goes to the next panel, and then they're just fucking going all out.
Yeah, it's sick.
And then it's to be continued. And it's like, fuck, it's going down.
Yeah.
It's
Sorry,
ridiculous.
I thought you were physically reading it, so I thought you were going to hold something up to the camera. That's why I was
No, no,
like
no, no, no,
spotlighting
no.
you. That's sick,
No.
though. Yeah, I
I
like that.
don't I don't think I have enough room in the household right now. Like I don't think I can really like stock up on comics and whatnot. I've already got too much like equipment as it is in my room.
Yeah. So is this just like is it a collaboration? I suppose I don't really want to know too much about it if I'm going to be reading it myself. But like
No, this is
I see Venom here. Like, is it just like all of the DC characters against the Skrulls, like villains and heroes alike? Like, it doesn't really matter. It's just like humanity banding up against the Skrulls.
yeah, so like I don't want to give you too much onto it, but this is like one of the issues where they're like, okay, we're finally ready to kind of do like an all-out war between the two because we have the ability to like discern the difference between the scrolls and like the actual heroes. So then you get this moment of like, okay, it's time to go. So then they go Avengers Assemble, like Thor just showed up.
Yeah. So
And so like that's why, when if I were to go to the next panel, you see that like they're going straight up against the scrolls.
yeah,
But and as far as I know, the technology that's being used right now is because of Reed Richards. And because of that, they kind of have now like an ability to attack the right people and not cause
okay.
any trouble
So
between like themselves.
they're seeing them as they are, like not in costume or like it's like it's revealing their true selves or something like that.
Right, but it may or may not be foolproof
Right.
because there's some characters that don't seem to look like they've changed.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, it
So
sounds
it's still
interesting.
yeah, it's still up in the air.
Show me no
It's fun.
more. Show me
Yeah,
no
I won't
more.
show you anymore. That's it.
um, yeah, Andre just popped into the chat. What's up, dude? How are you? Hope you're doing well. Yeah, look, the season so far for me, right? Like again, we're at the halfway point. You would think that there should be some like crazy shit happening. It just doesn't feel very like eventful to me. Like, and again, I'm
Mhm.
scrolling through the episode here, and I'm like, oh yeah, this bit was kind of cool. Like, the Talos meeting with Gravik, and they have to sit down. They kind of throw some verbal words at each other, and then everyone like stands up, and they're all like morph into Gravik. I was like, that's pretty
Right.
cool. Again, we
That's
saw it in
pretty
the
cool.
trailer, so who cares? But You know what I mean? At least it was cool to see the full scene. Again, another part of the show that if they didn't put it in the trailer would have been so much more badass. And I kind of liked the scene where they went to get like the codes or whatever, or where Fury and Talos went and broke into the house and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Like that was pretty cool. I didn't like where they were talking in the car and basically Talos was like, oh, you were nothing without the scrolls. It kind of like defeated the kind of beauty of Fury. Like, you're meant to think he's this big, like, genius, like espionage, like superstar, like superhero in his own right. And like basically Talos is saying, like, without us, you wouldn't have done anything. So like all of his kind of victories within the MCU up until now have just been thanks to the scrolls, which is kind of strange. No, I
right.
thought
And
that was a bit
I
weird.
honestly, I think that they could really make it more of a thing of like, it's not that he did terrible and that they just managed to like carry him throughout the entire time.
Yeah,
I think it's more so maybe Fury is allowing them to believe that it was all them, so that they feel more like, so that Talos can feel more and I guess entitled, or feel more like he can be helpful instead of telling him like, motherfucker, you didn't do shit for me.
I
Like,
hope
because
that's I hope that's the case. I
I
wouldn't
hope
I
so too.
I wouldn't like to think that Fury wouldn't be Fury without the scrolls. It's kind of weird,
Right.
right?
Yeah, because like it's not the like, again, we're we can't compare the comic to this like in its entirety because everything has changed. Like in the comics, you have a white Fury. You don't have
Of course, yeah.
the Samuel L. Jackson Fury.
Yeah, yeah.
Um so like it's hard to believe that only the scrolls had allowed him to rise up in the ranks. I think it's mainly because of the fact that he was able to collaborate with the alien race and to allow them to stay on the home planet without causing any trouble for such a long period of time. That obviously Fury has something to do with that. Like, obviously he has the ability to prevent war and to prevent like strife and whatnot. So like, you can't just give it all to the scrolls. But like, I get it. Talos is like, when we came here, you were probably a nothing, and it's like, maybe he wasn't. Maybe like, but that doesn't mean that he couldn't be better.
True, true. I agree.
It's
Um,
yeah.
yeah, like I don't know. And like to go to just because again, not a lot happened in the episode, but just to jump to the end of the episode, obviously where Gravik shoots Gaia,
Gaia.
and like
Uh,
I don't think that she's actually dead. Like there's scenes that were in the trailer that haven't happened yet, so that kind of again the trailer's ruining things. But um, I would say I can't remember who I was watching somebody break down the episode. It might have been Josh or maybe it was Heavy Spoilers, one of them anyway. But they kind of said that like when she's lying on the ground, she has a bit of like a kind of glow or something. So they suspect, again, this is just a theory, but they suspect that maybe she's become a super scroll herself.
oh, 100%. I think that should be the case because if she's smart enough to understand that when you're shot or you're killed as a scroll and you change automatically back into a scroll.
Hmm.
So then she did that. She got shot. She immediately changed it to a scroll, and then she died, or
Yeah.
quote unquote died. So then she knows about the Super Scroll program. So like, obviously she's gonna take a look and investigate while Gravik is out and doing his bullshit business.
Hmm.
It's very on the nose. It's very easy to predict it as well,
Yeah.
because if you notice that, like, as we got into the like this about the second half of the second episode and throughout this entire third episode, Gaia becomes increasingly quiet. And in my head, it's like, okay, so obviously she's helping out Talos because that's her father.
Yeah.
Obviously she's not like on the same page as Gravik because Gravik is doing shit that like could be detrimental to her people. Like, she doesn't agree with that kind of stuff. Like, and if it causes more hurt, then she's not going to be for it, and therefore she's getting more quiet because she's secretly like doing things in the background. So it's easily predictable, which kind of sucks. um it should have been a lot harder for us to kind of understand that maybe Gaia is going for this kind of stuff, and maybe it was Talos talking to someone else and showing distrust between her, like, Gaia and Talos, and that would have been cooler because then like we know like Talos has someone on the inside that's not Gaia that is, you know, giving intel.
Yeah.
And that would have been cooler because then if Gaia had found out, then she would have been pissed. And then she would probably be against Talos. And I think like that would have been cooler to understand. Like, okay, so she's gonna stay with Gravik because she feels betrayed, and so that would have been the betrayal, right? Like you would feel like that would be much more of a betrayal than just, oh, Gaia's helping.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
absolutely. Yeah, look, I think there's been some really good parts, but there's been a lot of like kind of just bore. And I think if you were to go back and rewatch the show in 6 months' time and just do a big binge of it, you know, watch 3 episodes in one sitting and then the next day watch the last three, I think it might like flow a lot better. But I
mhm,
just think like when they're doing these like weekly episodes and it's, you know, episodic, I think they just need to, because what it feels like is it feels like Disney is kind of just chopping up what would be a movie into 6 episodes and just throwing filler in just to expand it. Whereas
right.
what they should be doing is they should be, you know, doing what the TV networks do, like make it episodic, you know, have cliffhangers here and there and like get people back for the next episode. Have shit happening where it's people are going to be talking about crazy shit that happens, like, you know, in the episode for the next 7 days until the next one airs. You know, it's like I don't really feel, and like it's blatant when you go online after watching these episodes where it's like, you know, you don't see anybody talking about anything that happens in the episodes at all. You know, usually like comicbook.com are putting up articles when like crazy shit happens in TV shows and movies and stuff. And it's like there's nothing going on about this show whatsoever. So like it's just like whatever way that they're telling the story, there's just no hype behind it whatsoever. You know, and if they had ended each episode on a bit of a cliffhanger, you might have had people talking, and then that might have maybe roped some more people into watching further episodes of it. Like I'd be very curious to see what the ratings are for each episode each week, because I would gather they're probably going down. Like on episode one for the premiere, they had not even they didn't even break 1 million for the premiere,
Mhm.
which is really bad. Like second lowest in Disney Plus history, I believe. And I would say, if I was a betting man, I would say, you know, each week that number's going down again. I can't imagine there's more people jumping on. I'd say it's less. I'd say people are falling off. You
Right.
know, I'd say people are like, ah, fuck that. I'll let it all build up and I'll watch it when it's finished. Or just, yeah, I'm not into this at all. And they won't watch it at all, you know? So yeah, I don't know. And again, as well, like cheap fucking camera tricks. One more time when the dudes were in the van at the start of the episode and they were infiltrating the base, and you know, it's like I knew it was gonna happen. I was like, I guarantee you, like it's gonna like pan out of that car, and then when we see them again, they're just gonna be different people. And it was literally like the truck pulls up, and then we see the doors open, and it's just different actors getting out of the van. Like I was like, oh come on, guys. Like it's easy enough. Like just fucking give us the effects, give us the immersion.
Right.
Like
That's like so,
at this point, it's so bad that like I'm like focusing on it now, and I'm just like, oh, there they go, saving money again.
right. And if the immersion is breaking, that's horrible. That's probably why the ratings are down because there's no immersion. There's
Yeah,
none. It's
yeah,
all pretty simple simplified stuff. Like it kind of reminds me of like, you know, late like maybe mid to late 70s, early 80s kind of stuff, like when they were barely getting into the whole CG schema, and it's like cool, that stuff's really cool. Like I don't care if it looks bad. Like that's new shit.
yeah.
Like we're in 2023 now. This shit should not be happening.
Bro,
Like we sh-
I sat down and watched Deadpool 1 last night. You know, it was my night off. I was like, oh, I'm gonna sit and chill and watch a movie. And I was like, you know, the whole Deadpool shit, like Deadpool was all over my newsfeed all week long. So I'm like getting hyped for the new movie. And I was like, I'm gonna go back and watch the first one again. I've seen it so many times, but it gets better each time I watch it. But I
yeah.
remember when the movie was getting made, that the movie had like such a crazy low budget for a superhero movie at the time. I think it was around, if I'm not mistaken, like 80 million or something. Like it was really low, like because I remember they didn't really have faith in the project, and you know, it was like Ryan Reynolds pushing it like really hard and so on. And I think they were just like, you know, Fox were just like, ah, look, we'll give him a small budget, let him see what he does, and if it's good, they'll, you know, they'll make another one, blah blah blah. And the movie like itself, even the opening scene, the opening credits, if you remember, there's like the slow motion shit that's going through that big like highway crash and all. That looks better. The CGI in that looks better than what the MCU are doing today. And that
Yeah.
movie had no budget. Like it's wild to me, man. I'm like, how are they letting this happen? And again, like, you know, I know we're harping on about this a lot, but I think it's a very fucking important topic to talk about. Like, I think CGI in Hollywood right now, and again, I don't know if it's like there's not enough people doing it, and they're like wearing all these people out to the max, and they just can't afford it, or are the MCU paying like most of their budgets on like now for like actor salaries and stuff? Like, I don't even know. Like, but there's something weird going on. Like, I presume the whole cinematic universe thing, maybe it's just there's too many people, like too many high class actors that they have to pay shit tons of money to, like, you know.
Right. And it works out better if you're doing shows like this and you just have
Oh my
CW
god,
level actors. You know,
bro,
just have
I'm sorry, 1 second.
yeah, no problem.
The budget for I just checked this movie, the budget for the movie, $58 million.
That's that,
That's mental. And
that's
it grossed 782 million worldwide.
that's great.
The opening
And
weekend in Canada, opening weekend in Canada and US, 132 million. It nearly tripled the initial investment for the film. Now I know box office, like apparently for domestic, they need to. I think the studio only gets half of the box office, and then for international, it only gets a third. So
mhm.
you know what I mean? That's why, like, you know, when they say like it's 200 million to make a movie, if they do a box office of 200 million, they've only made 100. They still lose 100. So, and that's only for domestic. So they're losing even more uh, globally, you know? So, oh, bro, 58 million. Could you imagine? They made that movie for 58 million, and the CGI is so much better than what's in the MCU now. And they had to pay Ryan Reynolds and they had to pay everybody else who was in that movie too. Like, fuck. Like, what the hell's going on, bro? I don't understand. Make me
I don't
understand.
know, man. It's nuts because when you think about it, the budget for the second movie was nearly double at 110 million.
Which is still nothing.
Yeah.
That's
And
that's
and
nothing.
and their box office was almost 800 million.
Yeah. But
So so like it's
think
just
about, like, check if you've got IMDb open there. What's the budget for this show? This show
oh,
alone,
for this show? Oh man, hold on.
probably like 200. I bet you it's about 200.
Let's double check. It said they spent 211.6 million
Where's that money going?
making Secret Invasion.
Like, Samuel L's not getting that much money. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
Maria
no.
Hill, she was in what, one episode. Emilia Clarke, she's not that big of an actress. Like, Don Cheadle, you know, what are they giving them? $1 million to show up
J-
for this show? Like, you know, I don't. Where's this money going, bro?
Right.
What's it
Well,
doing?
Amelia is still kind of writing off of her her role as Daenerys in
Yeah,
the
but she's
sense. Like
not.
I feel
She's not making more money than like Tom Holland in Spider Man. Like, and they only paid Tom Holland like 15 million for Spider Man. So,
right.
like, you know, like, where's all the money going? Like, it's not big fucking fat salaries for all these people. Like, I don't know where the money's going. It makes no sense. How could Fox make
I,
Deadpool one for 58 million? Like, I think it was about
I don't know,
60 all
man.
in. I think I remember seeing 60 getting thrown around. But like, bro, like, where's the money going? Something's going on. It's weird.
It's maybe they're just maybe they're embezzling. Maybe they're just
Bro, it's not adding up. The CGI is getting worse. The budgets are getting bigger. You know what I mean? What's
yeah.
going on? Are they paying these like GFX artists like quadruple time because they're having to work so much OT? They're so
It's
stacked that
possible,
it's like
like
you
because
have to pay them so much fucking money because it's like they're working 18-hour days, 7 days a
it's
week.
possible, man. Because like
Yeah.
there's so much, there's so many different jobs that they have. There's so many different things that effects that they have to do, and I'm assuming they're in like groups or stacks of like effects that they need to work on.
Mhm.
And depending on like how you know how complicated it can be, they probably work on the simpler forms first, and then work their way up. And then maybe they just burn themselves out from that point because it's like holy shit, there's so much to do, and because there's not enough people working on VFX, and then it's like you get what you get at that point. Like it's like I'm tired, dude. Like you don't pay me enough. I'm tired, and then I'm not gonna keep going just for you guys.
I'd kind of expect it to be the other way around. You know, I'd expect it to be Deadpool 1 having the shit CGI and like really feeling like a low budget project, whereas that movie feels better than anything I've seen from Marvel in a while now. Like,
Hmm.
watching that movie, like, and I'm like, Jesus, like, this looks amazing, feels amazing, costumes are great, you know, everything is fantastic, and 58 million.
Well, So, since you just recently watched it, how often did Ryan Reynolds actually take off his hat or his hood?
Um, he has it off a good bit, and then when he does have it off, he has all like the makeup on.
Right.
So I think I know what you're trying to get at. Like you're trying to say like that he's not on camera that much because it's like it's a stunt double and stuff. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, and it's possible maybe they could pay a little bit less and just pay him for
Maybe,
his voice.
maybe, but I think, and maybe as well, maybe Ryan didn't take a payday for the first one. He might have only had like in his contract that like he'll make money if the movie does good sort of thing because it was a passion project of his. Because like he's been trying to make that movie since 2003. So
Mhm.
I would fully expect him to do something like that. So maybe that's why it was so low, and maybe why the second one was a higher budget was because they had to pay him and Josh Brolin and everyone else who was in it. But
Right.
I don't know. Like I know Ryan is very involved with the making of those films. Like even when you would expect it, like because I know like Robert Downey Jr. had said in an interview, like every time the lid goes down on the mask, he's like, "That's not me. I'm not there. I'm done. Like it's not me." And
Yeah.
whereas I know Reynolds like would shoot a lot of the scenes when it's just anything that's obviously not too acrobatic or anything. I think it's always him in the suit. So
Of
I
course.
think he'd be way more involved rather than say Robert Downey Jr., who the second the suit goes on, he's not even there.
And that's fine because we don't need to see Robert Downey Jr. like his face every single fucking time. We don't need to see Tom Holland's face every single time. We don't need to see our mass superheroes face every single time because that's the whole point of having a mass superhero is to maintain their secret identity and to also give us the impression that we could ourselves be heroes in the sense, like especially for Spider-Man. Like people love Spider-Man because a lot of the times he's wearing his mask. Yes, we know. Excuse me. Yes, we know what Peter Parker looks like underneath. But like, how many kids love to put on like a mask of Superman and just go around and like have those like silly string web shooters and just pretend to be him? Like it's so much fun. Like I remember that kind of stuff back in the day. You know,
Facts.
like and now that we're adults and like we're not trying to be like full on kids, but this is like a thing where it kind of hits us in the childhood, you know? It
Hmm.
kind of gets us a little bit and like gives us that feeling like, man, I didn't like me personally, I didn't read too many comics, but when I got to read comics, it was the best feeling. And so like for the people that have been reading them like religiously ever since they were kids, I'm pretty sure like it makes them upset when they can't see all this stuff the way it should be.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. I think there's an interview rocking around somewhere with Stan Lee, and he was talking about how I don't think they intentionally meant to do it, but they had said like keeping Spider-Man in the mask just made him like the most kind of relatable character in
Yeah.
the world because so many kids, no matter what color their skin was or what kind of background they have, they could all relate to being Spider-Man. Everyone wanted to be Spider-Man, and
Right.
everyone could picture themselves being Spider-Man.
Right. And then Across the Spider-Verse does it even better when they actually show the different variations of people that could be Spider-Man.
Yeah,
You know, they had Miles, they had Spider-Man India, they had like a whole bunch in the background. They had they
yeah.
had big Spider-Man, they had tiny Spider-Man, they had skinny Spider-Man. They had all kinds. They got double cheeked up Spider-Man.
Peter
Like
Porker.
Peter Parker, Peter Parked Car.
Yeah. Oh
Like,
man, that movie's so good. I can't wait to watch it again when it releases on digital.
right? Like it's just
Cannot wait.
it's so diverse and it's so fun and it's just like it's like it's simply the best, man. And I know that like, you know, I don't know what the budget difference is between doing a live action movie and an animated movie, but I would say that like at the very least, if you can do an animated movie over a live action nowadays, I feel like that could probably solve some of the issues that we're having currently, especially with like CGI, because then you wouldn't have to worry about it because everybody's like a cartoon in the
Yeah.
sense.
It kind of sounds like it'd be more work though. Like if like all these artists are really stretched too far, I
Oh, of
really think
course.
that like maybe if they do like if you're doing animation, like it's gonna take years. Like I think they spoke about how in Across the Spider Verse that scene where everybody's chasing Miles, it took them 4 years to do that.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
it wouldn't take 4 years to shoot that practically, like but it would take 4 years for them to artistically do it. So
right.
there's pros and cons for each side of it. I think.
Of course. But it also depends on whether or not the teams are being split. because there have been other projects that they had to work on in the process as well. They had to work on Venom. They probably had to work on, No Way Home and whatnot. So like you don't have the entire team, whether they're like animated VFX or not. It kind of matters, like being able to have everyone on the team just focused on one thing. And
Do
I
you
know
think
it's
that
like
that's how Sony is running? I don't know if that's actually how it runs. Like, because I know the way
uh
they have, like, it's like Sony Pictures Animated. I wonder, do they have their? It's a separate studio. That's the way I perceive it. As like it's a completely separate studio. So Sony Live Action is just a completely different bunch of people, and that's why I
if
think they
that
have that creative freedom to make
right.
these amazing movies where they don't have all the suits getting involved because it's not Sony. It's Sony Animated, which is different.
Uh I would, if you're saying it that way, then I would assume so. Um, but that would also mean that maybe the groups are smaller, like the animation studio is smaller than the live action.
It will be, yeah. That's the point I'm saying. Like, because
Yeah.
if you think about it again, how long it took them to do that scene with Miles trying to escape, and it took them 4 years. Like, if like, how long is it going to take that small group of team like to do a whole movie? Obviously, 5 years or something. You know what I mean? 5 6 years,
Hmm.
and like even like now they've pushed back the sequel to Across the Spider Verse, Beyond the Spider Verse. They've pushed that out like another 2 years now, I think.
Hmm.
So that was meant to come out like next March, in less than a year. It's like, Haley Steinfeld's like, I haven't even recorded a line for it yet. Like, they haven't even started working on it. It's crazy. It's
Yeah.
absolutely, it's
Well,
bonkers.
so one of the biggest cinematics in World of Warcraft was the Battle for Azeroth cinematic. I would say that that's like one of the bigger ones. Besides Warlords of Draenor, I think Warlords of Draenor cinematic was incredibly well done. Those take years as well, and they're like maybe 4.5, 5 minutes at the most. So
Yeah,
like it just takes years and years to do that, and it's kind of the same design. Like it's these 3D effects slash 2D. Um, for the most part, like with World of Warcraft, it's all 3D, so that it probably takes a lot longer. So I'm
yeah.
not sure like what exactly entails for that, but like I know that if we were to wait for a movie, it would probably be, I don't know, probably around the lines of like 6 to 10 years at the least.
Yeah, it's a long time, bro.
Yeah, but I mean that's why you like grow out your studios. You make sure you have like both an animated and live action team. But in my head, I'm thinking, excuse me, in my head, I'm thinking it's like it's all there, like they're all just together, and then they just kind of like have similar, you know, skills, and then they're like, okay, well, we need you to go to the animated team and go take care of this. And so I guess that's what my outlook is. But if it's all separated,
I think it is
that's
separated, to be honest.
yeah.
I don't know. Um, yeah, look, there's nothing really more I want to or can say about Secret Invasion right now. I suppose we just have to wait and see what happens. Just
Yeah, it's getting pretty bad.
yeah. Like, do you think next week? Do you think is Granick, is that his name? Granick? Is he
Gravik.
Gravik?
Yeah.
Sorry, Granick. Is Gravik already a? I don't care. Is he already a Super Scroll? You know the way when he like rips the
Oh
knife
yeah.
out and like he's like morphing back together. It seems like he has those infuser
Yeah.
kind of fire powers that was in one of the list of the DNA things.
Yes. He that is reminiscent of the Extremis power.
Yeah,
So, in my opinion, I think Extremis is not the best ability that you should probably want, because that can, like, I know scrolls are of a different breed, and I don't know if they actually self regenerate, but Extremis is such a fucking volatile like ability that like I get why you want it, because you want to be able to regen no problem,
hmm
but like it's so like that means that Gravik's either, if Gravik dies, guess what? He's gonna explode.
boom.
Like
Yeah,
it's gonna turn into that kind of situation. And I would say like all the powers that they've shown us so far, they're very boring. Like I'm not a big fan of Groot. I don't like Groot's powers. Like I think they're fun. They're fun for like what they are, but nobody really goes on like to watch Guardians of the Galaxy and just be like, "Oh man, that's Groot doing Groot things." And it's mainly like, "Oh cool, Rocket's like trajecting himself off of Groot so that he could shoot," or like, something silly as that. Like he's doing like Groot's more of the silly guy.
yeah,
And we have like the Frost Beast, which is like the gigantic fucking beast that you saw like from the Frost Giant world in Jotunheim.
Mhm.
And so like that's
How
the
did they
thing that
get that,
was
by the way?
I, I
Like,
don't
how the
fucking
fuck
know,
did they
dude.
get that? Like,
I,
think about that for a minute. Like, where did they get that DNA from?
they just happened to cross one.
Where?
I don't, I don't know, man.
Who the fuck
Well,
from Earth is going to Jotunheim?
I don't know. But like that would be the cooler thing is like if that's one of the bigger reveals, it's like we went to different planets and attempted to, to see if there was an inhabitable planet, and we couldn't find any, but we found some DNA from living inhabitants of those planets.
Yeah,
And therefore we thought that it was very interesting that they had this ability. Like if you're taking DNA from a frost beast, the only thing I can think of is that you want to survive the intense cold.
yeah.
Um, so that would be one thing. You took Groot's DNA somehow, which I still don't understand where the fuck they got that. Maybe
I presume
like
is Groot is like a species, like, so I presume there'll be like a Groot planet somewhere, and
yeah,
maybe they visited it or something. I don't know.
that could be the case. But I could have sworn he like, you know, tell me if I'm wrong in the comments. But I swear Groot is like the last of his people.
Interesting.
Um,
That'd make Groot kind of cooler, in my opinion. But I don't
yeah, of
I don't
course.
think Groot is cool.
And that's it.
That might be something. That might be something.
And it's funny how much we like. Yes, I know that for those of you who are listening right now who are big fans of the show, we understand, like, we 100% understand it's still a Marvel show. We know that no matter what kind of Marvel show is created, whether or not we love it or hate it, it's still going to be okay by the end of the series. So like we're not trying to completely hate on it. We just think that it could be better. For sure better.
Definitely.
And but like, going back to the whole powers things, like, don't be boring. Like,
Yeah.
give us something. Like, show that you got Thor's power for some reason. Like, show
Ex-
us that you got,
Fucking
huh?
explain it. Explain it. Explain where they're getting this DNA from. Like, they better explain it by the end of the show. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, like, makes no
I would
sense.
I would love to see like flashbacks or like, the elsewhere kind of scene, like of them going and exploring different planets and going to pick
Yeah.
up things, and giving us a reason to be like, we wanted to combine this DNA with this DNA because we saw that this had regenerative abilities. We use extremis because although it's volatile, it's very regenerative and it gives you additional strength. You know,
Yeah.
maybe it was saved in the
Agent,
fight
what's
from
up, bro?
Thanos. You know what? That's not a bad idea because thinking about it, Groot was on Earth for a while, and he might have been attacked. Like yeah, no, he definitely was attacked at some point. There has to be branches that had fallen off, and maybe the scrolls had found it in between.
So
And
if Rhodey was actually a scroll from like Civil War or something like that, and he'd been infiltrating the Avengers and so on, and collecting data and stuff that way? Maybe. Again, we can theorize. We can sit here and theorize all day, but like, I want answers. Like, I want to know
right,
exactly why, like, or how this happened, because I don't know if I'm getting this wrong, but my understanding was like the only way that you could get to like the likes of Jotunheim and Asgard and all was like magic or through like the Bifrosts and
the
stuff. Like,
yeah,
you can't just get in a ship and fly there. Like, I think you need to actually travel there through magic. Like,
right. And I would say that in terms of all of the Avengers, in terms of all the heroes that we've seen so far, they have been injured very much so throughout their time living. So it could be Pharrell as a scroll.
what's up, Rob?
Oh my god, that like anytime I think of Pharrell now, dude, like it just kind of reminds me of that the movie like Get Him to the Greek where he's like talking with P Diddy.
Yeah.
Oh, you're one pink shirt away from being Carlton, motherfucker.
Very true. That's not the Marvel way. Explaining stuff, yes, probably right. Yes, facts. Look, yeah, I
Right.
don't know. I don't know. It's messy, bro. It's really messy. Like, I think we definitely need some answers before this show ends, and we better get them.
Yeah,
Especially
because
because
like
with the way Marvel goes now as well. Sorry, like, this show will happen, and we won't get a follow up to this for like another 2 years or something. Like there's still shit that's happening like Eternals that we probably won't get to the answers to until Eternals 2, which now we find out isn't coming out till like 2026.
Hmm.
Like it's insane, bro.
And okay,
2026, my daughter will be like, "Can we go see the new movie?" Like she'll be asking me to go to the cinema. Like that's like
that'll
how
be
long
sick
away.
because then you
Yeah,
can
I
go
can't
see the
wait.
movie with her now.
I can't wait. But like it's just crazy, dude. It's crazy.
It's amazing. But you know what? You know what's funny when you talk about Eternals right now? Because I've been getting a lot of like short videos on the Flash.
Yeah.
These, yes, the first 3 episodes are boring as fuck. Like we are the people that are in this podcast right now saying it is boring. This is a very boring Marvel show. This is espionage, and we've already had that with Agent Carter. We don't need this again. I will say that.
Secret Invasion is Marvel's version of Andor.
Ugh,
That's what we're living
ugh.
through right now. Andor wasn't enough. Disney were like, we're going to do it in Marvel as well. Let's give you 2 of them.
So fucking boring. But like like going back to the whole Flash situation. So as much as people like bag on Eternals and as much as like people say like Eternals was bad, to be completely fair, man, a lot of the effects in that movie were fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like like you think about the Flash and with Ezra Miller doing that weird fucking weird ass like run, and then you look at God, I forgot her fucking name. In Eternals, like
Yeah.
her fucking like speed in the sense Speed Force in that movie is just gigantic. It's beautiful.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. Those are good scenes. I think Eternals gets a lot of hate, and I think if you're listening to this and you've watched Eternals and you didn't really like it, go watch it again. Like I think it's
Yeah.
so much better the second time, third time around. Really good, Macari.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, thank you, Max. Yeah, her scenes were good. I think I've seen the same. I think you might have sent the clip to me on TikTok, the one you're talking about. I have.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
I've definitely.
Yeah.
I had seen it before you sent it to me as well. But yeah, like there was a lot of good shit in that movie. And then yeah, there was some kind of boring
It,
bits as well. But look,
it
it is what it is.
right. And it's mainly because DC has been trying to ride off the coattails of Marvel for so long, and they just still don't get it. I think that they really should just branch out and do their own thing because clearly, when they did the Nolan trilogy, Batman, that worked out. When they did, the Batman with Robert Pattinson, that was actually pretty fucking good. Like clearly, they know how to make a dark and gritty like universe for DC.
Bro, just that you've mentioned that now, I need to mention this to you just because it's going to escape my mind. But I saw somewhere during the week that there's a rumor out there that obviously James Gunn's going to have the DCU, but apparently there's rumors knocking around that Matt Reeves, the guy who made the Batman, is going to get his own like Reeves verse as well. So it's like
That's another reboot in the sense.
it's like a franchise building off an Elseworlds world.
Mm,
So,
gotcha.
but like people online going crazy, like all the Snyder fans, like it's like if you're gonna do this though, why don't you just let Snyder's verse continue, but just have it as Elseworlds, and then you can just have the DCU as the main timeline, but then you have your Elseworlds movies as well, and then everybody's happy. You
Mm.
keep Cavill, you let him do his movie, you bring Affleck back, you let him do that, but then you have the main timeline. Obviously, they're never going to do that, but like, I just don't know why you have to go to the point of actually saying, yeah, look, it's all cancelled, we're rebooting it, and then like a couple of weeks before they've even launched the first movie, the DCU, they're talking about a separate universe again. Come on, bro.
I maybe they just don't know. They don't have a sense of direction right now. And it's that's fine, but they need to admit that. Like they need to go to a meeting and admit that they have no sense of direction right now. Because
Yeah.
at the very least, I would say that with Marvel, they have a sense of direction, but it's just like we don't like the way they're like the path that they're taking nowadays.
Yeah.
When it comes to DC, everyone's literally like, "What the fuck are you doing, bro? Like, where the fuck are you going? Like, what's going on with this?" Like, Black Adam, although it wasn't like the best movie or anything, it still did pretty decent.
Yeah, I think that's just because of The Rock, though, to be honest. But like, I think, yeah, like it did more money than The Flash, and it did more money than one of the last Marvel movies as well. Like, it's actually like it was pretty successful. I think it hit just shy of 400 million in the box office, like, which is pretty good. Again, it probably broke even, if even, like barely broke even. But looking at how bad the Flash did, like the Flash is like an incredible failure, and obviously Indiana Jones, another massive failure. Like,
Weird that you say that though, because a lot of the people that I've been talking to lately that actually went to go see the Dial of Destiny, they praised it.
I
They
heard it
said it
was
was
I heard it was quite good, but not
yeah,
nobody went to see it. That's the
right.
problem.
So like
And that's all
the
that the
people
studio cares about. They want to make their money
right.
back. That's all they care. They don't care about what the fucking IMDb score is. They don't care about whether it's fresh or not on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, they want the money. That's all they give a shit about. And
And that's
the
fine.
movie's
Like
not
it's
doing anything, bro. Like, the movie needs like
right.
it needs like 800 million to break even.
And that's fucked. Like when you put so much money into something and you're expecting the like either to break even or do better,
Yeah.
like it's fucked. Like you shouldn't do that. You should totally just make it because it's a passion project, not a money project. And
That and
yes, like
Hollywood, bro.
I know. And I yeah, 100%. I was going to say like I get it. You
Yeah.
need to make your money. You need to make your bills. You need to feed your family. You need to get whatever it is that you need, so that you could be happy with what you've got. But like because of the fact that most companies and conglomerates do not know when to stop, it turns into like, oh, we need to make more money off of this money that we just made. Then it's
Yeah.
like, well, where does it end? Like, at what point do you realize that you're not making a movie to entertain people and you're just making a movie to entertain your pockets?
Yeah. Yeah. This is it, man. And like, Indiana Jones 5 didn't need to happen, bro. The fourth one didn't need to happen either. You should have just kept it as a trilogy and it would have just gone down in legend. You know what I mean? Like, and the fourth movie as well, while it probably made a lot of money in the box office, it was a fucking terrible film. And they really should have just cut their losses there. They really should
Oh
have.
yeah,
And they go again and they just do it again and they make terrible fucking choices. And I'm obviously I love Harrison Ford, love him. Want nothing but the best for him, and I like respect him even more now than I had before because like he's diving back into projects in his 80s, and he's like really fucking going hard at it. He's
hmm
doing 1923, he's doing this, he's doing Marvel, like he's going to be in like 2 MCU movies. Like, he's doing so much shit. So obviously, when I hear there's an Indiana Jones movie coming out, I'm like, I'm not a massive Indiana Jones fan anyway. Like, I've seen the first three. I watched kind of half of the fourth movie and I turned it off because I just couldn't believe what I was watching. Like, it was so bad. But like, I've no interest in watching Indy 5. I'll watch it when it goes up on Disney Plus, whenever that is.
yeah,
No
that's
interest.
fine.
I'm not going to spend any money on it. And I'd say the way I feel about Indiana Jones is probably the way 90% of the people that are my age or younger feel about Indiana Jones. No one really likes Indiana Jones, but they're going to just go. Like, even Rob in the chat, like, never seen him. Exactly. Like, this is the point I'm making. Like, no one, like, indie was for like the older generation, I think. And those people aren't going to see these sorts of films like anymore. Like, so I think like the
Right.
fan base for indie has kind of fallen off. And I don't know why or how Lucasfilm and Disney thought that this movie was going to make $1 billion. Like it's madness to me. Like, maybe
Right.
if they put
But
like a young, like relevant actor in who's like a massive movie star, like what they tried to do with Shia LaBeouf in the fourth one, like they him coming
well,
off
because
like
they were probably
Transformers.
yeah, that and they were probably trying to make a like a new kind of like generation
Yeah,
of Jones kind of characters. So like
yeah,
if Shia LaBeouf's character was well received, they probably would have done another movie just with Shia LaBeouf.
yeah.
Because then it's
But
like, okay, well now we have a new Indy Junior kind of situation.
yeah, and obviously that just did not work whatsoever.
Right. And to be completely honest, man, the like out of all five movies, 2 and 4 were the worst, and the main reason was because there's no Nazis, and
Mm,
that's the funniest thing, man. Like everyone that I've talked to were like, they got it right this time. I liked it because they brought the Nazis back. Like
yeah,
it's just because that was their thing. That was the whole spiel about like Raiders of the Lost Ark and the Last Crusade was
yeah,
that they're trying to fuck things up and
yeah,
and like you had a real reason because like nobody really likes that group, nobody really likes that party, so like by all means make them the baddies. And so like when you get into Temple of Doom and it's just these cultists and then you have the worst character ever, which is like Willie, like
yeah.
horrible fucking female damsel in distress. Like, I don't know what they were thinking with that.
Mm.
Like, that was such a fucking like literally like a cock block in the sense. Like, if you think about it, like it's
Yeah,
like just nothing.
yeah. Do you want to talk about the Deadpool stuff from this week?
No, not at all. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I do.
So I don't know if you saw this, but officially announced Jennifer Garner is returning as Elektra in Deadpool 3. This is officially announced. I heard it on the
Okay.
radio today. On Dublin radio, it was announced. Like, it's like Jennifer Garner returning as Elektra. And I was like, what the fuck? This is on the news over here. I was like, wow, okay. That's crazy. Wild stuff. So like, I think we've kind of found out, like, we can piece together what's going on in this story. Like, it's him bounced around the Fox universe, and we're going to go back to all the Fox properties. You've got Wolverine coming back officially. You've got Jennifer Garner now back officially. Unofficially, Ben Affleck has been rumored to appear, and it makes, like, how could you have Elektra and not have Daredevil in it at this stage? Like, you know what I mean? It'd be stupid not to. So,
I
like,
mean, they did make a movie after Daredevil called
of
Elektra.
of course, but that was a spin-off of Daredevil. They would have done the Elektra movie first, you know what I mean? So it would feel
Yeah.
kind of weird to have Elektra in it, but not have Thing. And that there was a leaked photo of Ben Affleck, and he's looking shredded. And it's like he's training for fucking Daredevil again. It's like, oh shit, bro, this is gonna be fucking epic. I'm delighted. I'm absolutely delighted. Some other crazy shit. I saw one of the leakers tweeted out that Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen will be in the movie. We've heard about Ian McKellen showing up for a long time. It's been in all the
Right.
plot leaks. But yeah, Patrick Stewart, and you can't have Patrick Stewart. Like, you can't have Hugh Jackman without Patrick Stewart at this stage. Like, the two of them it's a fucking package deal nearly at this stage. So again,
Right.
none of these kind of like reveals or whatever you want to call them are they're not surprising to me in the slightest. Maybe the Ben Affleck one, definitely. But another good one that I heard was Channing Tatum shot a scene as well as Gambit. You know, the way he was meant to have his own Gambit movie?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
scrap. Apparently
Okay.
he shot a scene for this as
That's
Gambit. So
weird.
they're gonna travel to like a cancelled movie world or whatever. And like,
Oh, that would be
right,
sick.
Ryan Reynolds is gonna obviously poke fun. It's like, oh, look what could have been or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're
Right.
definitely gonna
Exactly.
poke fun at it being cancelled, like 100%. Oh, that's gonna be great, man. I'm so fucking excited for this film. And I think the fact that they've pushed this movie forward so much, I think Marvel themselves know that this one needs to happen. They're like, shit, we need this movie now. Like, apparently this is gonna be like No Way Home, but for Daredevil, or for Deadpool, sorry. Like, it's
Mhm.
gonna be that kind of hype around it and everything. And I would say, with everything that's going on in the box office, all the flops and everything that's happened, I really do think this movie is gonna pass the Billy mark easy,
I hope
easy,
so, man. Because I would love that.
easy.
Like, I would love to
And
see all the different characters that you've referenced. Because can you imagine if they added Anna Paquin for Rogue
yeah,
just for the fuck of it? Like
why not?
might as well. Yeah.
Yeah, why not? Like, I truly think that we could have crazy shit like that. Like Halle Berry, again, we talked about it weeks ago. She was seen in London with this fucking storm hair. You know what I mean? It's like,
It's gonna get
um,
cold.
yeah, exactly. But it's like we've seen all that. Like, now we have like Tatum fucking thing, Ben Affleck. Like, obviously, I would have said, and I did say this back when it first got announced, but even if it was just a movie of Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman walking around doing nothing, just being themselves, it would have crossed the Billy by themselves without it. And
Mm.
now they're adding in all this fucking crazy shit, like mental stuff. Like, I hear like there's gonna be like another Illuminati in this movie. There's gonna be Scarlet Witch again in this movie. Ian McKellen's gonna be like her father. Like, they're gonna do House of M.
Yeah, they're gonna
It's
do.
whew, like, man, there's too much going on in it nearly. Like, it's insane. It's gonna be like Multiverse of Madness, but done right, I think. And then I hear like Tom Cruise, Iron Man again coming back into the mix. It's like kind of like the stuff that they didn't put into Multiverse of Madness. It's like they're kind of going, shit, like that's what the fans really wanted. Let's go and do it now.
Well, yeah, because it's still Iron Man. Like I know that Robert Downey Jr. was a big name for Iron Man. He's definitely Tony Stark of like the Earth 616 for the
Yes.
cinematic universe. But like You pick Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise looks pretty good. Like he'd be definitely a Tony Stark. But like
Yeah,
having him as whether he's evil or not, like whether he's superior Spider-Man, superior Iron
Iron.
Man,
Yeah,
or some form of Iron Man from like a different universe. It doesn't matter. Like you're putting up an Iron Man.
yeah,
Like
facts.
that's huge. If you put up another Captain America, I'm pretty sure people would be fucking flipping their shit, whether it's Chris Evans or not. Like it'd be like, oh shit, maybe they're thinking about having like a new Captain America, like from the OG or something. I don't know. Like
Well, we
I
are
know
getting
that
a new Captain America.
I know. Well, yeah, I
I
get
know what
that,
you mean.
dude. Like
A
this,
different Steve Rogers. You mean?
right?
Yeah,
Or just quit fucking around with Sebastian Stan, and after Sam is done, give it to Sebastian Stan so he could be like the Captain America that Bucky was supposed to be.
yes, I would love that. I really would, because I think like the Bucky being Cap makes a lot of sense. Like it's his redemption. It's he was Steve's best friend. He has the serum as well. He is a super soldier. He's from the
Yeah,
same era as him. Like why not?
but
Yeah,
I get it with
yeah.
Sam. I get it
I get
because
it. I
like
get it too. Yeah.
it's like I would say that plot is not bad at all. That plot
No.
is not bad. The flag smashers and the broker, those were bad plots. Those were bad stories. Like I didn't care for those. But Sam becoming like Captain America and a mixture of like with the wings and the shield, that's fun. I like that take.
It
But
all
I
happened in
completely
the comics, but it just happened in a different order.
right, yeah, because Bucky was Captain America next because he took up the mantle after Captain America took off.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So yeah, they do. Rob's asking, is it canon to the comics? Like it did, but there is multiple. Like there is a Bucky cap in comics, and there is a
yeah.
Falcon cap in comics as well. Um, but yeah, like in the comics, just Steve just always comes back. They always just resurrect
Which
him
is
somehow.
and that's fine because like that's how you do comics. That's like
Yeah,
Marvel does it all the time. Like Iron Man should be coming back. I would say Iron Man can come back within the next 4 to 5 years.
yeah.
You gave it some time. Iron Man has been gone. It's time to bring back the mantle because it's such an iconic character.
Well, funny you should mention that, sir, because I have another scoop for you. Apparently, Robert Downey Jr. was spotted on the set of Captain America 4.
Oh, awesome. I would
Yeah,
love that.
and I saw an interview with him very recently, for the Oppenheimer movie, and he's kind of got his Tony hair back. Like the way he went grey
It
for a while, and he was looking really old and like kind
right.
of like fragile. I was like, oh shit, this vegan diet is not going well with him. Like he looked about 70. But now he's kind of looking like Tony again. And like he's kind of looking younger. He's got the hair dyed and everything. So yeah, I'm like, I think
And
Tony's coming back. I
that
would
sounds
have been
great.
shocked. I would have been shocked if he didn't return, but I think he is going to return, and I think that's why they made Armor Wars a movie instead of a TV show. I think they
Okay.
realized, okay, we're gonna actually get RDJ back. We need to put this on the big screen.
Dude, by the way, dude, fucking Don Cheadle has aged so much. How old is
Oh,
he
big
right
time.
now? Like
I don't
how
know. I don't know.
I swear it's only been
He
a few
got
years and he's already getting grace.
he got extremely skinny. I don't know if he took a fucking like a route down like a vegan diet or something himself, or he made some changes anyway in his life, and he went really skinny, and he looks very old now. Yeah, he doesn't
Yeah,
look
it's
great.
fucking crazy. Like
I'd say he's in
like
his
Robert
mid-50s, is he?
he's
Don Cheadle?
Don Cheadle and Robert Downey Jr. are the exact same age. They're both 58.
58. Wow, okay. Yeah.
58. And
Yeah, Don
RDJ
looks
looks amazing.
yeah, Don looks a lot older, but RDJ did really fall off after Endgame. Like, I don't know if you can look up like if there's any videos of like say type in like Robert Downey Jr. 2022 or something like that and see like he looks old. Like he's got like he went grey and he looked real skinny and like malnourished because he went vegan and all like so.
I don't know. I kind of like he to be honest, dude, he kind of looks like Steve in this picture. Oh my god.
Kijin's 100% right here. Like this is the problem. Like this is why they killed off RDJ, I
Yeah.
think, to begin with.
But
Like
but
he
this
he cost $15 million to put him in Spider-Man Homecoming for 8 minutes of screen time.
it's fucking
15
nuts.
million for 8 minutes work. Like I know it's not 8 minutes work, but it's preserved by alcohol and drugs. True. He's clean though for years, right?
Yeah,
So I
like
don't even know
honestly,
if
he
he
still looks
drinks.
great.
I saw an interview. I can't remember where I saw it, but they were talking about RDJ and how he like spontaneously like in a lot of his scenes. And again, I never even really paid attention to it, but he's like always eating in his scenes. So they actually wrote him into they wrote it into his character of Steve Rogers that he's always kind of eating and
Mhm.
fucking around with food and stuff like that. But like some of the stuff was like improv, like the bit in Avengers 1 where he's eating the blueberries and he offers them to Banner and all. Like that wasn't even in the script or anything. That was just RDJ eating on scene on the set. They were just like, I'll just keep the cameras rolling. It's like, yeah, look, just put it in. Which I thought was absolutely hilarious. Yeah, there's like he
Right.
doesn't look too bad there, but there's pictures of him where he has like long, kind of gray, like full blown gray hair and all. And he doesn't look too great. He doesn't look too bad in
Awesome.
that picture.
No, it's just like, but to be honest, dude, like if he shaves the head and like he kind of looks like Steve from Blue's Clues. So like that's what I remember it from.
I'm trying to see if I can find some of the pictures that I was thinking of.
But yeah, man, like it's you know,
With the bald
I
head,
completely agree.
he looks like he could be fucking bald head. He looks like he could be Lex Luthor or something. I've seen that fan casting thrown around a bit as well.
Yeah, but he definitely is aging. It's just it's amazing how like Don Cheadle feels. It feels like Don Cheadle's in his like 80s at this point. Like he kind of looks like he's getting tired.
Yeah, yeah, no, he does. He does.
But
Yeah, look, I don't know.
well, thinking about it now, dude, like we discussed this multiple times before. Like at this point, you know, RDJ made his exit, and if he's coming in for like a few takes, that's great. But like if it's costing too much, by all means, pick up a rising actor that looks similar to Tony Stark in the comics or even Tony Stark in the animated series, and just kind of like roll with that, see if he's a good fit, and if it's a good fit, like keep going. And because it's all in the character. It's just like Chadwick Boseman said. It's like it's all in the character. Like, I want you to think
Yeah.
of Black Panther. I want you to think of T'Challa. I don't want you to think of me.
So I'm gonna put this question out, and this question goes out to everybody watching live, everybody watching a replay. If you're watching this in a YouTube short or something like that,
You.
the question, yeah, you motherfuckers. The question is, if the incursion happens, which I think it will, by the way. So I've been saying this for a while. Get ready, the incursion's coming. And if they do after Secret Wars, for example, have like a prime Earth or a prime timeline, the prime MCU, um, if they decided to turn around and actually recast some main characters or bring in elseworld versions of characters like a different Tony Stark or a different Steve Rogers and kind of soft reboot it, but they are technically continuing on the storyline, like would you be happy with that? Or would you kind of be like, oh, this is bullshit? Like now we have a new Steve Rogers. Like where's Chris Evans gone? You know what I mean? Like would you like
Right.
it or
Well, me personally, I would love that because
yeah?
I care about the character, not about the actor.
Hmm.
I like I said, like Robert Downey Jr. did such amazing, but that's the problem. Like Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans did such amazing work that I believe, you know, Hollywood is like, there's no way we can recast them. Chadwick Boseman did such an amazing job. There's no way we can recast them. So what did they do? They gave a kid the name like T'Challa to take over, and which I think is a beautiful kind of like send off because it's like, yeah, he did die, but like it was still kind of odd,
That's my
but it
favorite.
was a
That's my favorite part of that movie.
yeah,
The
it
fact
was a
that they
great
did
way.
that, and I think it was clever. It was
Yeah,
by a long shot the best part of the movie because I did hear them say something along the lines of like, you know, we won't touch the character T'Challa for like 8 years or something, and now it's like they bring in a young T'Challa who's like 10 years old, and it's like, okay, we're gonna introduce to him, but then he's gonna drop off, and then like, you know, in 8 years' time we'll bring him in and he'll be the new T'Challa. I was like, that is actually very clever,
right.
very
And
clever.
who's to say that we can't just do RDJ and Chris Evans like in another 10 years and do some sort of like not House of M, but like Old Man Logan style, where like it's just them, or like it's kind of like the Dark Knight Returns in the comics when like you know Bruce and Superman are kind of a little more aged, and Bruce and Superman have a fight, and I can't remember what the premise is, but like basically like Bruce is old, Bruce is getting
It's
old,
basically Batman versus Superman. It's kind of the same
yeah.
story they did.
Okay, so then like just have that kind of like other world kind of situation. It's like, well, this is what happened to this universe in the later years. because that's how comics are in some cases. Like we kind of want to see what happened to some of the characters in the later years. We can't always have
100%.
them young.
I fully agree. And like Old Man Logan is an amazing comic book, and the movie Logan is incredible as well. Like, and like there's so much in the Old Man Logan comic that they didn't go through in the movie. Like, there's an old version of Hawkeye who I think is
Yeah.
blind and deaf at this stage. Like, he's just a shell of an old man, but he's still an animal. And they've got like Hulk taking over half the planet and all this stuff. Like, loads of really cool
Fucking
shit
made
happening.
Hillbilly Hulk.
Yeah, it was great, man. I loved it. It was such a good fucking comic book.
Yeah. And it like
But yeah, do
stuff
shit
like
like
that
that.
is fun.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And then obviously Jeremy Renner as well. Just the tragedy that happened to him in real life. You might benefit from maybe if you do like an old man Hawkeye story where he's not the same man he was, but then you get Jeremy Renner back. That would be great.
Yeah.
It's like he's not really the archer that he was. You're not going to see him run around or anything. And then it
But
kind of
he's teaching his
helps.
kids or something. And
Yeah, and it helps them get Jeremy back into the role, but not actually be, because like he's very physical himself and he likes to do a lot of his own stunts and stuff. So,
Mhm.
That'd be a great way of getting him back in there.
Someone wants to change gears.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I don't mind. You guys can talk about this all you want. I know nothing about One Piece. But yeah, look, how far are you and your missus still watching it?
Yes,
What episode are you on now?
Katie and I are on episode. Let me double check because we just got into the 400s. We are like I'm all caught up except for the current episode. I've actually not watched the current episode. I'm going to wait a couple more weeks. What I want to do is wait until the debut of like one of the biggest parts in the manga series at this point. And I like Bento, I'm assuming that you're probably never going to watch the show. So like I'll tell you.
No, I
Okay.
can't watch 1,200 episodes of TV. I'm sorry, bro. I wish I could.
I
just don't have the
I
time,
get it.
man.
And I know and my girlfriend's the same way. Katie was like, "There's no fucking way I can do this," and I'm like, "I will go with you the entire way." I love
I'll
the
hold
show.
your hand.
Yeah, exactly. And it's been such a fucking journey, and I love it because like I love the characters. I feel for the characters. I had experienced like all that stuff with the characters like over and over and over again. And to watch it with your significant other is huge. Like I know how much it means to you when you actually watch a movie with your girlfriend, like, and it's something that you're really interested in.
Oh yeah, it's great.
So
Great.
so like I'll give you a few tidbits. So like Katie and I were watching One Piece, and like I would say that the scene in Arlong Park where Nami's like asking Luffy for help, like that's huge. Everybody will quote that scene as like one of the best turning points for anybody who's willing to watch the show. Like that episode will guarantee that you will watch the show for the rest of the time being because you're so invested now in all the characters. We had reached a certain point in Water 7 Enies Lobby. We were in post Enies Lobby where the Going Merry, which was their first ship, is crapping out. It's dying. Like they can't. It brought them in. It got them out of Enies Lobby, and it just crapped itself. And as much as like they wanted to fix it, like Iceberg was like, I did all I could. That's as much as I could. It's time for you to let the ship go. And and Katie and I are literally tearing up over a ship. Like we're so sad. Like it's because we didn't because you don't realize how much of a journey you've gone until that point. You know what I mean? Like it reaches that level. Yeah, that arc was so heartbreaking. Like it's just so fucking good. It's so fucking amazing that like we cried over a ship, but we got a new one because it has like everything that we need because it's going to be like the most innovative and inventive like form of shipbuilding ever because they got their ship right at the end of that arc as well, which was amazing. Like the wood that they used to build that ship is made out of like the strongest wood in the entire world, so it's like it's built to last. And so it's like, okay, so we're probably never going to see the ship ever break again. And so then we get into the later area. We finally reach this place called Sabayori Archipelago, and that's when it gets into the real heavy shit. It goes into like racism, it goes into slavery, it goes into like murder, looking away from like government officials and higher ups because like these are world nobles. You can't do anything to them. You have to just keep your head down and like just not do anything. And it's so like at that point, like Katie's like, oh, I fucking hate these guys. Like I hate these guys. And one of the best episodes ever was when, one of the world nobos, his name is Charlos, he shoots Hachi in the back. And he's like, I got one. I killed a fishman because fishmen are very much hated. It's very racist. And Luffy, as much as he wanted to listen to Hachi and be like, yeah, I won't attack them, he took his arm, he went up to Charlos, and he punched the fucking color out of him. Like he literally shot him across the fucking stage, like the bleachers in the sense, and fucking knocked his ass out. You thought he would be dead by then, but apparently he's still alive. But like it's one of those moments of like, oh, they pissed off the world. Like this, it's a huge turning point, and now everyone's gone. Yeah, he punched the fuck out of him in front of everyone, and everyone saw it. So, and they called a Navy admiral, which is like right before the fleet admiral, and that's the shit that really like sets everything in stone, because then they're like, they're about to die, they're about to fucking die, and then one of the warlords of the sea comes in and he's like, if you'd like to go somewhere, where would you if you'd like to go somewhere on vacation, where would you like to go? And then they start disappearing, and Luffy thinks that they're dead because they just straight up disappear, but it turns out they were all sent out, and because they're not strong enough. And so it turns into this whole situation of like they need to set out and find themselves because they're not strong enough. And so it's fucking it's so good. That's where we are with me and Katie. But in terms of the show as of right now, I'm all cut up except for the most current episode, because I'm waiting. Like I said from earlier, I want to wait until August, like maybe mid-August, when they get to one of the biggest episodes that they're going to have. It's going to cost a ton of money. Like it's probably going to be the most expensive episode that they've ever had, because there's going to be a lot of effects in it. And apparently, I think they've signed. I don't know if it was a rumor or not, but they've signed on people from Warner Brothers to do the animation, because it's very Looney Tune style.
Okay.
Because of the way that the like Luffy's powers manifest, because he awakens his powers at that point, and he becomes what's known as like the sun god, and he's essentially it turns into Looney Tunes style shit, man. It's basically his eyes bug out because he's about to get attacked. He fucking warps the world because he's able to rubberize it. He fucking grabs like the main villain and swings him around like he's just a toy or something, and he starts bashing him around like fucking like Hulk.
Yeah.
It gets really fucking goofy, but it's gonna be like the most expensive episode that we'll see.
Cool.
Because of how animated it is.
And what episode is the like official number? Is it like 1,100 or something like?
I think that episode is supposed to be 1072. So we're getting close to the to the 1100s.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah,
bro.
but what's even crazier, man, is the manga is on hold right now. I still need to wait like maybe 2 more weeks before we can get another manga. And the reason why is because Ichiro Oda, I think that's how you pronounce his name. He had to go on hiatus just for a month because he needed to get his eyes fixed. He has such bad astigmatism in both eyes that he's like, I'm going to go to the doctor. I'm going to have them fixed. I need a month to recover. And everyone is crying because they're like, oh fuck, dude, please don't mess up your eyes. Please don't ruin them. We love the show. Like everybody's so enamored with the show nowadays, which is amazing to me.
That's scary, bro.
Like, isn't it? Like
going to that level that you're like destroying your eyeballs. Like, it's insane.
It's fucked up. Like, because then what if his eyes, like, I'm sure his eyes are fine now. I'm sure by now he's fine and he's just recovering. Yeah, but that kind of hit my head too. I'm like, what if it fucked up his eyes and now he doesn't see the things the way he saw them before, and now he's just like just ruins it. And I'm like, no, I can't think about that, man. I can't have that. Like, and another thing, Finto, I know you were saying like, oh man, 1,000 episodes is too long. Did you know that there's some people on TikTok that are like, it's not long enough. It needs to be 2,000 episodes.
I'd believe it. Absolutely. Actually, like, man, like I was invested in lots of shows, like, I loved Supernatural. Like they went on for 15 years, like, and it's like people said they didn't want it to end, and it probably should have ended, but maybe like a couple of years before it did. But I still watched every fucking episode of it, and I will rewatch every episode of it as well. But I don't know, it's just I'm just obviously not invested enough in something like this to actually put that time in. And
Right.
also, I would need to do it solo. Like my missus would never watch it, so it's not like it's something that I could put into both of our schedules. Like whereas like the two of us could sit down and rewatch the first 6 seasons of Supernatural because it's like incredible. Like I love it so much. Seasons 1 to 6 is just perfection. But and
Yeah.
like if I was to turn around to her and say we're rewatching seasons 1 to 6 of Supernatural, which will probably take us a couple of weeks, she'd be like, "Fuck yeah, let's do it!" So
That's
whereas if
great.
I turn around and say we're about to watch 10 episodes of anime here, she'd be like, "Fuck off!" It's not happening.
Dude,
So yeah,
and I know I've like been like not trying to shove like anime in your face or anything. I know it's not like your cup of tea, but I highly recommend. There's some very mature animes that like I highly recommend.
yeah,
One of them being Jujutsu Kaisen. The newest season just came out. And it's like a backstory. It's like a prequel to what's currently going on. They even had a movie that came out, and fucking fantastic movie. Like it's very like a very well done show so far, and I'm really enjoying it. And everybody's head over heels over like Gojo, which is like the instructor. um, dude, like literally, dude's got just the most beautiful eyes ever in that show. Like, and same thing with Demon Slayer. Like that show is damn near like I would say 1-to-1 with the manga. Like they did a really good job taking the designs from the manga and re-showing it up on the anime. So like that's a very bloody show. I don't know if you're a fan of like blood and guts and whatnot,
of course,
like Demon Slayer is your thing. You can even watch it in English. I heard it wasn't that bad, but like I honestly always recommend in Japanese because it's like the original
yeah,
voice actors.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I
I
agree. Like with most people, like Demon Slayer is near perfect. Like no show is perfect, but
mm,
if the journey is near perfect, you're gonna keep watching,
yeah, for sure. I think I might try and check out Demon Slayer. I think it's on Netflix over here.
dude.
I think we have it here.
Dude, like I'm trying not to spoil it, but there's characters that you meet for like an hour and you care so much about them by the end of the like because it's a movie. Like you
Yeah.
care so much about them by the end of the movie.
Mm,
You care so much about these characters because of the way that they were brought up, the things that they had to do in order to become like such powerful beings. The demons that you encounter, like their backstories and all the shit that they went through and why there's this like drive to take down like the big bad. And it's just like fucking just the most amazing newest season. Like at the very end, like most people probably didn't know what happened at like don't know what happened at the end of the latest season of Demon Slayer. Like they probably never read the manga, but guarantee you most of those people are like, oh my god, they were fucking crying because they're like, it's one of those shows, dude, like where it's like, oh my god, I'm gonna cry.
mm. Yeah. No, like I'm not opposed to it. I suppose I need the right stuff to start with. Like what did I try watching? Um, was it One Punch Man or something? It's called.
Really,
I
like
tried
it's
watching that and I was like, I watched the first. It was on Amazon or something like that. I think Carl Crunk was mentioning it to me back in the day. He's like, you'll fucking
yeah,
love this. Like, and I watched the first episode and I was just like, oh, I don't know, I don't like it. I don't know what it
it
is. It's just
it
didn't jump out of the page of me. Like, but like for example, like I loved Invincible, loved the Cyberpunk show Edge Runners was amazing.
yeah,
What else? The Arcane show was incredible
Arcane,
as well. Like
yeah,
yeah, like incredible. So like, I'm not opposed to the
like the anime
entire like
style,
yeah, I'm not opposed to the style. It's just I think I need the right story to hit me. Like Cyberpunk, that
yeah.
Cyberpunk show. I was again quite skeptical watching it, and I watched the first episode. And I'm like, oh Jesus, like this is very kind of very anime. Like, and but you just it was amazing. Like you get so attached to characters so quickly, and that just made me want to go back and play the game as well.
Well, and I remember you talking about the god Star Wars Visions.
Yeah, Visions too. Visions is pretty good. Again, it's a little different because it's Star Wars for me. Like it's easier to kind of jump into, but like that's very, very kind of like Japanese style anime for
Yeah,
certain episodes of it as well. Like so, yeah, it's very much anime too.
and
But yeah,
and
and not every episode is good, but there are some incredible episodes.
I agree. Yeah, like 100%. Like and the same thing for anime. Like not every episode's going to be gold,
Mm,
but there's going to be some episodes where you're like, that was fucking ridiculously awesome.
mm, yeah,
But I guarantee you, there's going to be some episodes where you're like, oh, I'm a little tired.
Yeah, yeah. I suppose I need a show to kind of get me interested quick. Otherwise, I'm just not gonna have the time to stick with it. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
I watch a lot of shit, man. A lot.
Dude,
Like this,
then
I've like 3 or 4 TV shows now that I'm sitting there just going, I need to watch this, need to watch this, need to finish this
right.
one, need to start this one, and trying to throw in like animes on top of that. Like when I'm gonna have to find time to watch them by myself as well. I'm just like, oh, like I don't have the time
Mhm.
for this.
Then I would say that Jujutsu Kaisen would probably be more in your lane because the show almost I would say almost every single episode ends with a fight scene. Like straight up, just all like almost every episode is just straight up like fight, then to be continued, then fight, then to be continued, like kind of stuff like that. It keeps its up like it keeps its uptime of fights like pretty well done.
Yeah.
So that one I would say if you like consistent fighting, that's a really good one. Demon Slayer, it's got consistent fighting like in the second half of the seasons, I would say.
Hmm.
But like it starts. I would say it starts out like the first episode starts out a little bit slow, only for the fact that it's got to give you a little bit of a premise.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so dude, like I like Katie probably would have never really been into anime if not for me. Like she loves Jujutsu Kaisen and Demon Slayer. She like when we watched the first episode of the new season of Jujutsu Kaisen, she's like, "Why are they?" She's like, "Why aren't they shows like an hour? Why aren't they an hour long?" And I'm like, "I
Yeah.
don't know. Like they really should do it, but it
How
probably costs."
many seasons or episodes of Demon Slayer is there? Do you know? I've
Uh,
just while you're talking, I've opened up Netflix here, and I can see there's 3 seasons of it on Netflix here.
yeah, there's technically 3 seasons. There is an arc that is so short they made it a movie.
Right. Okay.
So so it's going to be season 1, then you'll have the season like you'll have the movie which is Mugen Train, and then you'll have season 2 which is the entertainment district arc, and then the third
Okay.
season which is the Swordsmith Village.
Gotcha.
And then for those of you who are all caught up on Demon Slayer, the next season or next arc is going to be called the Hashira training arc, which is going to be I heard it's going to be really good, but it's very short, so it's probably going to be mixed in with the Infinity Castle arc.
Nice.
Very good show, man. Highly recommend. Start it when you feel like you're comfortable and you feel like you're awake enough. I don't want you to be tired and watch it and be like, this fucking sucks.
Oh, bro, I'm always tired. Shit, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna need to like drink some pre-workout or something and go into it then.
Start doing
Yeah,
weights
it's
while
like,
you're watching it.
actually might not be a bad idea. Actually, how long are the episodes of like Demon Slayer, for example?
They're like 18 to 20 each.
What I might start doing, actually, this could be a good idea because there's like I try and every time I go to the gym now, I'm trying to like cycle more. I'm trying to do more distance. So what I might do is I might jump on the bike every time I go to the gym. I might jump on the bike and I'll watch an episode of Demon Slayer.
Yeah,
So
I'd be down with that.
yeah, so we'll do that. I'll start that tomorrow. My first day. I'm going to start Monday in the gym, and I'm going to do Demon Slayer episode 1 while I sit on the bike and sweat my balls off.
Now, big question for I'm pretty sure anybody that's listening right now that's interested in you watching it. Big question: sub or dub?
No one's going to answer. I might have to do dub just because if I'm watching on my phone, it might be hard to read the subtitles when I'm cycling. So I might have to do a dub first.
Mm,
But
okay,
I do
that's fine.
understand where you're coming from, like with the subs, because it's all Japanese or whatever. It's probably a lot more authentic if you listen to it in Japanese and read the subtitles.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If
I kind of low key hate subtitles though, but if it's the right thing to do, I'll try and
if
do it.
if you don't feel comfortable, if the dub doesn't, if it doesn't feel like it's doing it for you for the dub, try the sub at least once.
Yeah,
And if that seems to work, then it's probably the way you need to go.
yeah,
Because all because I guarantee you, all the characters, voice actors for that show are perfect
yeah.
in sub.
Yeah. Well, I would say, yeah, I would say, like, I've seen some like bad dubs done before as well. Like, and the way sometimes it doesn't work, but whereas if it's a show that's like globally watched and like loved, I would say the dub's probably quite good for it. It would have
Oh,
to be, right?
100%.
Have to be.
Says he hates subtitles and watches English movies. Which
I don't. I don't. I hate subs. I hate my girlfriend watches everything with subtitles, and she has our son doing it now as well. He watches it now. To be fair, it's helped him learn to read really well. Like he can fucking read anything. It's crazy, but I hate it. Like anytime her Netflix profile is open, subtitles are on. Even if she's watching an episode of Friends or something, I'm just like, oh, I hate this so much because it's like I always find I'm reading the subtitles even if it's in English. And I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm reading words. Why am I not watching the show? It drives me crazy, man. I hate it. I hate it so much. And I think there's going to be some people listening that are on my side of this argument, but
Oh,
some
for
people
sure.
some people just like love subtitles. I don't get it. Like my girlfriend's one of them. Like she just will constantly have subtitles on, even if it's in English.
Well, we kind of like Katie and I kind of reached that point with certain shows. Like if they sound like like if they sound muffled,
Yeah, you want to
even
turn
though
it
they're
on.
speaking in English, yeah, you turn it on just to make sure you're listening to what exactly they're saying because they're being too fucking muffled.
Yeah.
Others where like the accent is a little too strong for us, like we definitely turn it on. But for the most part, we try to leave it off because we want to be surprised because sometimes the subtitles will.
Yeah, you're reading shit before they say it. You're like, oh,
Right,
okay.
yeah.
That annoys me even more as well. Like that,
Right.
that really boils my blood, man. I hate it. And I can't remember my son was watching something recently. It was like some Japanese anime show. You'd be proud. I don't know what it was, but the subtitles because it was in English dub, but he had subtitles on as well on top of it, and I was like reading it, and yeah, like again, he's 9, like, but again, that's just because he watches everything with subtitles now because his ma does. So, but I was reading the subtitles, obviously, because they're in my face. I'm like, I have to read them. But what the dude was saying from the dub was different to the subtitles. So I said to my girlfriend, I was like, the subtitles are wrong on this. And she's like, actually, I think the subtitles are the Japanese translated, but the
Yeah.
dub is like it's translated differently. So they're not the same. I was like,
Right.
that
Like
is wild to me.
right. Like you'll see like we have to go find where my friends are, and then you'll
Yeah.
hear the dub and be like, I have to go save my friends.
Yeah. So annoying, bro. I'm like, well, if you're gonna do it, like, do it the same. Like, there should be 2 different subs, like, because that was really throwing me off. I was like, I couldn't sit and watch this. I was like, my brain was scrambling. Yeah,
But I'm excited for that, man. Like I do hope you genuinely like Demon Slayer. I hope it gives you a good run for your money. But again, like there's a multitude of like animes I can recommend to you if you ever decide you want to branch out a bit more. So
yeah. Like when I watch shows like Edge Runners and I watch shows like Arcane and stuff, I'm like, am I missing out on a lot of gold here? Like, I don't know. But then everyone that I try to watch, I'm just like, oh, I don't like this at all. So maybe like anime is not for me. But then I watch shows like that are amazing. I'm like, oh shit, maybe it is. Maybe I'm just not watching the right stuff. So
it's
yeah, I think I
possible.
need
It
to
really
dip the
is.
toe in more. You know.
Yeah.
Sure.
And dude, there's so many animes that are around. You could like things that we don't even know about.
True.
And that's how anime kind of gets. Like, you know, there's not very many people that watch this. There was one called The Hidden Dungeon Only I Can Enter. That was a bit more like mature, but like it's very good. Like I really recommend it. Like Kate, it's only like 11 episodes. Katie and I watched it, and at first she looked at me like, "What is this? What are you watching?" And I'm like, "I don't know, just watch with me." And then she's like, "I actually like that."
Yeah,
So,
I'm getting a lot of recommendations here, and I've forgotten half them already. So actually, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to open up an anime section in my Discord, and then we can all just kind of chat about it in there. You can throw in
dude,
trailers
that
and shit
was
like that.
that was actually the funniest thing. I forgot to poke you about that, dude. I looked in Discord and I'm like, there's not a single fucking anime channel. This dude really does not want to talk about anime.
No, I will. I'll put it in. I'll do an anime section for sure. I'll do it.
Andre's giving you an entire list right
I know.
now.
I'm looking at this like, oh Jesus, I've heard of this Chainsaw Man one as well before, and Black Clover sounds familiar too. But I don't know where I can watch them. I might have to download a lot of them because again, me being over here on this side of the world, like a lot of this shit is not
You don't have a lot
accessible.
of
Yeah, like you know, the fact that Demon Slayer's on Netflix here would tell me that it's a massive show because if it's on Netflix here, it's got to be gigantic, you know.
Mhm.
Whereas like most of the stuff that you're seeing that you're recommending here, I don't think I've ever seen any of it on Netflix ever, like or any of the other apps like Amazon or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll have to do a bit of digging. But yeah, look, I'll open up a Discord section for it, and we can go from
I'll
there.
be in there.
Yeah,
I'll be in there.
sure. Yeah, I love it.
And one last thing is, if you ever for any reason decide you want to take a look at a couple episodes of One Piece, do not ever check out the 4Kids version, because that is the worst one ever.
What is it? Like it's a
So
remake of it or something?
it's the 4Kids version. So that's back when they, I think when they had the rights to show the 4Kids version on like of One Piece on, like, I can't remember what network it was, but it was just like all the characters are done in the same way. Like, okay, so do you remember any of the English dub of Yu-Gi-Oh? Do you remember any of those voices?
I never watched Yu-Gi-Oh. No.
Okay, so when you think of like Pokemon, or when you think of Yu-Gi-Oh, and like those voice actors are kind of translated over in the 4Kids, because those were kind of owned by 4Kids. Those actors kind of carried over for each show. So the 4Kids act
Hello.
they went over to One Piece, and so like it's just the dumbest sounding characters ever. They make sure that like any reference to a gun is changed to like a fucking weird ass like finger pointing or someone holding a mallet.
Oh God.
They changed Sanji's cigarette into a lollipop. they, like, they tried to color change a couple of characters because they thought it looked racist.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
It's just really bad. Like any bloody
no.
scenes they had to remove, or they completely removed the scenes from entirely. Sanji, who's supposed to be like the sophisticated sounding character, who has like a really suave kind of voice, he's like kind of the ladies man kind of look. They all of a sudden give him this voice, and now he sounds like a fucking idiot. Like, it's bad. It's goofy. It's super goofy.
Literally goofy.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, like don't ever go into that. Don't ever go into 4Kids style shit.
No, I'll avoid it like the plague. Guys, massive thank you to anybody hanging out with us. Andre actually set up while we were talking. Andre went into my Discord because he's a mod in there, and he set up the anime section, so it's actually live right now. While we're talking, it's already live. So post away. Give me those recommendations. Yeah, look, if it's in writing, I can actually go through it and actually check it out properly, because I always forget shit. Like, it's late. Like, it's nearly midnight for me now on a Sunday night. Like, I'll forget half the shit that we're talking about here by the time I wake up in the morning.
It's called Anime Wonder.
Love it, guys. Much appreciated. Great chat, great hangout tonight. If you're listening to us on a replay as well, leave us a comment below. Let us know your favorite anime, and we'll talk to you next week. It's going to be episode 4 of Secret Invasion, and I'm going to talk about the Secret Invasion comic book because I'm going to try and read it in the next week as well. So yeah, we'll be talking about some comics next week as well, and then I'll probably be a big Demon Slayer fan as well, because I'm going to be jacked up on the bike in the gym. So
just start flexing. You're like, bro.
Yeah. Oh, my legs are
Demon
massive.
Slayer.
My quads are getting so big, it's gonna just have Demon Slayer written on them. All right, guys. Much love. See you next week. Bye bye.
Have a good one.